I caught a little of Donald Trump's State of the Union address and propose to respond to it. It's easy to glamorize violence, and for a person who is protected all his life by bodyguards to sort of project the masochism onto the lower ranks and trivialize their suffering with medals and shows and words of praise. It's a lot harder to justify the senseless violence that gives rise to these disturbing spectacles in certain situations. He talks in maniacal terms about gargantuan Chinook helicopters because for him it's his toy set. He just bilks the cow of the human race to produce for his stage productions. And that's all I see in it. And the indoctrination that goes out is less a totalitarian brainwash than it is juvenile victims of circumstance. I'll give you an example of how I became enlightened on the subject of how somebody could be in the rank and file and come to resent somebody who didn't belong to the rank and file. I was a dishwasher, working two full-time dishwashing jobs. And people know that I love poetry. I love to write poetry. It was next to impossible to write a single poem that whole time. Because I was occupied doing something else. And I never put aside my responsibilities to the employers who had given me these occupations in Maine. But I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I couldn't even think of doing what I wanted to do. If I was given a little encouragement towards despising people who wrote poetry, put poetry ahead of their dishwashing jobs, I might make a mockery of someone like me. Of course, I would never do that because I love poetry. But people who are in the rank and file of the military are chronically and disturbingly playing this game of projecting sadomasochism onto me as a member of the human race who disagrees with their political philosophy. So Donald Trump's maniacal big show, which didn't mention that his Space Force is going to be used by Epstein associates on the outer stratosphere of Alpha Centauri for jerkies from the cannibal. Uh, bu- buffet. And he didn't mention anything about the disgraceful stories that are being all blacked out from Epstein. He didn't mention the organ harvesting that went on in Gaza, or the massacre of 40,000 children that I heard, except to glorify them. He didn't mention Nosferatu's shrunken head collection. Instead, he apparently gave him a key to the White House. Those are all things that he is permitted because he was elected to falsely attribute as disciplic succession in the great chain of being going back to the last breath of Thomas Jefferson for some mysterious reason. And you're supposed to be barbecued if you don't fall into line with the people whose stories he told, celebrated by the Medal of Honor, which he joked he couldn't wait to find a loophole to give to himself. I mean, it was typical tastelessness on his part. I got the feeling, to end on a note. Well, I'm not going to end on this note, but he ended on a note of making me feel like at least he appreciated the United States of America as a place, that he didn't secretly hate us, which I've never been able to convince myself was true of him. His favorites attacked me as a symbol of the United States of America as a child, and they have weaseled and tunneled endlessly, attempted to kill me, ruined my life, and terrorized bystanders, killed people as threats to shut me up, like one of those disappearing women who testifies about being molested in a cab by his friends from the islands. They had me on an island, right? And they expect me to say that the threat to barbecue me is some sort of celebration of my Warhol status as a saleable commodity, not equal to the great John Lennon. They expect me to go see a psychiatrist rather than establish the facts that are available in my books here in my study in Tacoma. I have the facts on file here. They don't intend to let it into the public record. The Smithsonian is not going. Smithsonian, no. They will report John Schulman, but they're not going to say how he drove me out of Pittsburgh for trying to apprehend him early in his case file pilfering. They're not going to call me a hero for doing that, because it leads to one of Donald Trump's speechwriters who's still at large, pretending to be a Palestinian terrorist when he's in the Israeli Defense League. That's a fact of KDKA radio records. He called himself Abdul and said no one is innocent. His name is Adam Eisenstein. And Reagan's attorney for the whole thing, Miles Kirshner, which has the first four letters of Nosferatu's maiden name. Miles Kirshner had me in D.C. the day that Reagan claims he was shot. He comes out and waves to me the night before, and they give me a brochure that says, "There's no such thing as objective reality, only what the jury believes." Objective reality may very well be that Toon was making a secret gesture of contract that if I go along with their tall tale, I'll be as valuable as a Van Gogh, ha ha ha. He goes to Butler, PA, where I was kidnapped and filmed by pedophiles who held me hostage and brutalized me as a child. Named Donald, of course. And the FBI is just going to celebrate, hey, we won. They're going to go pop champagne. Hey, we won. Queer Ball is going to have to accommodate Crocag Ragusta. Ha 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 ha. Or we'll see about plucking his eyes out. That's what I get from that bizarre snake oil sales. Covered wagon that they call State of the Union address.